Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hmm.
We're diving deep today into DeepSeek. It's this new AI model coming out of China.
Yeah.
And it's not just another AI. This one's making waves, really turning heads because of the cost
Yeah.
and how easy it is to use.
Right.
So by the end of this deep dives, you'll understand why tech stocks are a little shaky right now, what this means for the future of AI, and whether DeepSeek is a total game changer or if it's just hype. So make sure you hit that like button.
Yes.
And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the rest of this deep dive. And if you know anyone who might be interested in this, send it their way.
Absolutely. What's really fascinating about DeepSeek is that it's changing the conversation about AI. You know, for years, everyone just assumed that you needed massive computing power to build a powerful AI.
Right.
Which meant you needed those super expensive specialized chips. And NVIDIA was, you know, the big player there.
Yeah.
Like, those costs would just skyrocket into the billions.
Right. It was like a playground that only the big tech companies could afford to be on. But DeepSeek is claiming that they built this powerful model for a fraction of the cost, something like $6 million. Now, that number has stirred up a bit of controversy, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. That's $6 million.
Yeah.
Is probably just the rental cost for the chips. It's not the whole picture.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about research, salaries for the team, and all the other costs that go into a project this big. None of that's included. And if you look at their technical report, they actually say they were paying something like $2 an hour to rent the chips.
Okay. So even though we should probably take that $6 million figure with a grain of salt, it's still shaking things up. Like companies like NVIDIA, you know their sales are based on everyone needing their top-tier chips for AI development.
Right.
And now they're feeling the pressure, which is probably why we're seeing tech stocks dip a little. DeepSeek has thrown a curveball. And investors just aren't sure what to make of it yet. And here's the other thing. DeepSeek is open source.
Right.
So that means anyone can access it,
Yeah.
tinker with it, use it. It's totally different from how those U.S. companies
Yeah.
have been guarding their models, keeping them, close to the vest.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for the big players
Yeah.
like Google and Microsoft?
I think it's a very interesting strategy. It's possible that this open source approach could actually speed up AI development overall. I mean, imagine researchers and developers all over the world working together, building on what DeepSeek has started.
Yeah.
That's a lot of brain power focused on a common goal. It really raises the question, what will the competitive advantage be for U.S. companies now?
Yeah. It's a completely different way of thinking about things. And, don't forget that $6 million is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Those chips cost way more to buy outright. And then you have all the other costs we talked about, the research and development, salaries for the entire team. That initial figure might have grabbed headlines, but it's important to look at the bigger picture. If you're enjoying this deep dive so far, hit that like button and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more episodes like this one. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Yeah, definitely. So DeepSeek has definitely stirred the pot, and now everyone is trying to figure out what it all means for the future of AI. Is this like a paradigm shift?
Yeah.
Is it all just smoke and mirrors? How will this change the game for everybody?
Yeah.
These are big questions.
It's a really good question. And it's interesting to see how other countries are reacting to all of this. Like a lot of people are asking, why hasn't India, with all its tech talent, come up with something like DeepSeek? It's a good question.
Yeah.
One theory I saw, and this is from a tweet at Bookworming,
Okay.
is that it has to do with protectionism. They were arguing that China's protected market makes it easier for Chinese companies to develop AI because they have this built-in audience, whereas India is a more open market, which means that Indian companies are going head-to-head with these giants like Google and Microsoft right from the start.
A really compelling point. It really makes you think about how government policies can really shape the entire AI landscape.
Right.
A protected market can give local companies some breathing room to develop their tech without facing the full force of global competition.
Right.
But in a more open market, companies have to be super competitive from day one, which is a tall order, especially in AI, where things are constantly changing.
It's definitely a great conversation to be having, and we're glad to be offering the other opinion on this. DeepSeek has really thrown a wrench into things.
It really has. The implications go way beyond just the cost. It's about access. and collaboration, and maybe even a whole new era for AI development.
Right.
So be sure to let us know what you think down in the comments below. We love hearing your feedback.
Absolutely. And this brings up another huge question. If DeepSeek is showing us that we can build powerful AI models with way less computing power and less money, what's that mean for the future of AI research? Will we see more of this open source collaboration? Or will the big players find some other way to stay on top? It's a really exciting time to be following all this. So if you're finding this deep dive insightful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more thought-provoking conversations.
And don't forget to share this with your friends and family. Let's keep this conversation going.
This is just part 1 of our DeepSeek deep dive. So stay tuned for part 2, where we're gonna go even deeper into the technical side of DeepSeek and really explore how this open source development could impact all sorts of industries. See you in part 2.
See you there. Welcome back to our deep dive into DeepSeek and ways it might change the world of AI. It's incredible how fast things move in the tech world.
Yeah. It seems like just yesterday we were all convinced that AI development was this elite club just for companies with tons of money and resources. And now things have changed. Makes you wonder, what other long-held beliefs are about to get flipped on their head?
Right. It shows you the power of innovation and maybe a bit of a wake-up call for those who thought things would always stay the same.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dig a little deeper into the technical side of DeepSeek. How did they manage to build this super powerful model with so much less computing power? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, their technical report gives us some clues, but researchers are still picking it apart. One thing that really stands out is how they use this thing called sparse training. Where they basically only activate certain parts of the neural network when they're training it. And that can really lighten the load on the computational side of things.
Interesting. So instead of trying to do it all at once, they're focusing their energy where it counts. Is that a brand new approach? Or have other AI developers been using it too?
Well, sparse training has been around for a while, but DeepSeek seems to have really mastered it in a way that's getting amazing results. You combine that with some other optimizations and some clever engineering, and that might be the secret to their success. With less compute, it's pretty revolutionary.
It's really cool to see the creativity and problem solving that goes into all these cutting edge technologies. Do you think this focus on efficiency, making the most of resources, could become the new norm in AI development?
It's definitely possible. I mean, as these models get more and more complex and hungry for data, finding ways to train them efficiently is going to be absolutely essential. And I think techniques like sparse training could be really important for making AI development more sustainable and more accessible for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. If we can build these powerful AI models without needing huge data centers and crazy expensive hardware, it opens up so many possibilities. Imagine using AI to solve problems in developing countries or for smaller organizations that just don't have the same kind of resources as the big tech giants. If you're finding this conversation as interesting as I am, hit that like button and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more in-depth discussions just like this one. Oh, and tell your friends about us too.
Exactly. It's all about making AI accessible to everyone, no matter where they are or what kind of resources they have, so we can all work together to tackle the big challenges. And I think, whether they meant to or not, DeepSeek has kind of pushed us in that direction.
I'm really curious to see how the AI community as a whole responds to DeepSeek over time. Will we see a shift towards more of this open collaboration and sharing, or will the big players just keep holding on to their models?
Yeah, it's tough to say, for sure. But one thing's for certain, the AI landscape is changing, and DeepSeek is a big part of that change. And let's not forget the other huge question DeepSeek has brought up about the role of government policies in shaping the AI landscape. We touched on it earlier, but it's worth another look. Some people argue that China's protected market gave DeepSeek the space it needed to thrive, but India's more open market makes it really hard for their local companies to compete with the global giants.
Yeah, it's a really important point. I mean, on one hand, these protectionist policies, they could stifle competition and slow down innovation. But on the other hand, they can create a kind of safe space for local companies to grow and develop. It's a really complex issue with no easy answers.
It is. Each country has to find its own way. But it is interesting that DeepSeek, by being open source, sort of throws a wrench into those traditional arguments for protectionism.
Right. If the best AI models are out there for anyone to use and adapt, then the advantage shifts away from resources and infrastructure and towards ingenuity, how you actually apply the tech.
Exactly.
This could really level the playing field
Yeah.
for countries and organizations that haven't traditionally been part of the AI race.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting to think about the potential for AI to empower people and communities all over the world.
It is. But it also brings up important questions about ethics and governance, making sure AI is developed responsibly.
For sure. Those are crucial questions that we need to be talking about as a global community. We have to make sure AI benefits all of humanity and that we're thinking carefully about any potential risks and figuring out how to lessen them. I think that's what makes DeepSeek so thought-provoking. If you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, The Other Opinion, for more discussions like this.
Yes, and please share your thoughts with us in the comments below. We love hearing what you have to say.
We'll keep exploring DeepSeek and all its implications in part 3 of this episode, so stay tuned for more.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our conversation about DeepSeek and how it might change the AI world. We've talked about how it shook up the tech industry, the debate around its true cost, and what it means for open source AI development.
Yeah, and we touched on the potential impact on places like India. You know, their AI scene is pretty different from China or the U.S. In this last part, I want to zero in on what DeepSeek can actually do. You know, what are the practical uses of this technology?
That's a great point. It's easy to get lost in the tech specs and the money talk. But the real power of AI is how it solves problems in the real world.
Right.
So what are some of the potential uses
for DeepSeek?
What we call
a foundational model. DeepSeek can be adapted to a whole bunch of different tasks. Think of it like a Swiss Army knife for AI. It can be used for understanding and processing language, recognizing images, translating languages, even stuff like discovering new drugs and materials.
Wow. That's a pretty wide range. It sounds like DeepSeek could give a lot of different industries access to some powerful AI tools.
Exactly. Imagine small businesses being able to use AI for marketing, customer service, even developing new products, or researchers in developing countries, using it to tackle local challenges like disease outbreaks or finding ways to improve crop yields. I mean, the possibilities are really vast.
An exciting vision. But let's be real. There are always challenges when you try to bring new tech into the real world.
Right.
What are some of the hurdles we might have to overcome before we see wide adoption of DeepSeek?
One challenge is you still need some expertise to use it. I mean, DeepSeek is open source, but you need a certain level of technical skill to really use it effectively. So we need to make sure people have access to the right training and resources so they can learn how to harness its power.
Makes sense. It's like having a powerful tool. You got to know how to use it right.
Right.
What about data? These AI models like DeepSeek need tons of data to learn and get better. Could data availability be a bottleneck?
Yeah, it could be, especially for those more specialized uses. DeepSeek was trained on this massive data set, but it might not have all the information needed for every specific use case. So you might need to gather and organize more data, which can be really time-consuming and expensive.
DeepSeek is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic solution.
Right.
There's still work to do to make it truly accessible and effective for everyone.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the ethical side of things. Like any powerful technology, there's always the potential for misuse. We need to be really thoughtful about how to make sure DeepSeek is used responsibly, ethically.
A really important point. As we move towards a future where AI is more and more moving into our lives, we have to be mindful of its impact on society and take steps to reduce any risks.
It's all about finding that right balance between innovation and responsibility. And that takes ongoing conversation, collaboration between researchers, policymakers, and the public. It's a really fascinating time to be watching all of this unfold in the AI world.
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts on all this? Do you think DeepSeek is all hype, or will it really change things? We want to hear from you, so share your other opinions down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying these deep dives, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, we love hearing from you. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends. The more people we can bring into this conversation, the better equipped we'll all be to navigate this exciting and complex world of AI. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into DeepSeek.
Before we go, just remember, This was an AI podcast aimed at giving you information, but some of it might be wrong. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Until next time,